Right then, we're not too far away from IPL season. In fact, less than 2 weeks to go for the mega IPL auctions. And while the more established teams seem to be getting their act together, the two new teams in Lucknow and Ahmedabad are also now, getting into the game. We already got you the name when it was released of the Lucknow franchise. Today, we are here for another interesting bit about the Lucknow franchise, which I'll tell you a little later. But first, welcome to my two guests in GAUTAM Gambhir and Mr. Goenka. They need no introduction. GAUTAM, as you know, is the mentor of the Lucknow franchise, and Mr. Goenka is, of course, the owner. First up, guys, before I even get into the cricket, what a day to be alive! What a Australian Open final! Did you guys see it, Mr. Goenka? To you, did you watch it?
I did, and it was historic for sure.
Yeah.
And disappointed that Novak was not competing, but delighted that Rafa won. I mean, outstanding. You can
Right.
only say that
Huh.
athletes of this caliber and talent are born once in a generation, and we are fortunate to have seen quite a few of them.
That's true. What a generation. Not just in tennis, you get to see the best, but even in football, you have the Messis, the Ronaldo. What a time to be alive, as I said. Gautam, I don't know whether you watched it or not, you tell me, but somehow Nadal reminds me of you, huh? He's not the most flamboyant, but he's gritty. He's always there fighting it out. And I say that because I was in Napier. I saw that test innings of Gautam. I was live present at the ground. Gritty, always there, fighting it out. Does he remind you of yourself?
Huh. No one reminds me of my own self, to be honest. I think you need to be your own man. And yeah, but I didn't watch the game honestly, but I read, and unbelievable. Coming from two sets down to winning your 21st Grand Slam just shows your perseverance and the will to fight. And it's never over unless and until it's over. And that is what I've always believed in. Till you don't score the last run or if you don't take the last wicket, the game is on.
All right, yeah, that's where a lot of times you talk about data, artificial intelligence. I was seeing during that third set showed that 98% chance that Medvedev is going to win. From there, Rafael Nadal comes and wins that game. Anyway, let's now turn our attention to why we are here. We're talking about the IPL, and as I said, there's going to be a big announcement today. Before I talk about the announcement, let me first show you what is it that we are revealing to you today. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, that's the logo of the Lucknow Super Giants. You saw it first on India Today and Sports Today. Mr. Goenka, I can see there is a resemblance to a bird, maybe, and I can see the tricolor there. Just tell us the thought, what went behind the scenes in coming up with a logo like this.
So we chose elements from cricket. So you have the bat, you have the ball, you have an inspiration from the Bales, of course, the tricolor.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an inspiration from a bird or a butterfly and a tree which is fully blooming.
Right.
So it's different elements. So yes, we are a new team, but we will have all the experience and all the maturity that others would have. So, so that's why it's a tree which is in full bloom, inspired by that. A butterfly as opposed to a chrysalis. And yes, it's something that we wanted to have cricket. We wanted to have the country. So it's a combination of everything.
Right. It does pack in a lot into that logo. And as you said, sometimes just looking at it, you don't realize what it really means or stands for. But as Mr. Goenka explains, they've taken in a lot of elements and probably trying to show what the, aim of the team is. What is it that really signifies as far as when they come out on the field and start playing cricket? Okay, Gautam, one thing that whatever a team signifies also starts from the leader of the team. And you've got KL as the captain. In fact, we spoke to KL and Mr. Goenka just a few days ago. But you being a former captain, captain. What have you made of KL, the captain, so far in terms of his leadership skills? Because we've seen some of it during, while he's representing the Indian national team. He's captain there. What have you made of him? Is he a work in progress? Do you think he's already there or he's improving? How would you say that?
Sometimes you start relating someone just with performances and the results, and I'm absolutely fine with it. You guys have the job to do, and but it's too early to judge someone just by someone captaining 4 games. And I can understand where you guys come from. But then the most important attribute a leader needs to have is to have a balanced mind, that he doesn't fly too high and he doesn't go down too deep either. So if you win, and that is probably the best quality which KL has. Obviously, captaincy or till the time you're playing, it's always a work in progress. You can never say that as a player or as a leader that you've probably achieved everything. You want to keep improving every day. You got to be the best what you can till the last day you continue playing or captaining the side. Because there's always something to learn and something to improve on. And whatever I see of Kale, he's got a great future ahead, not only as a batter, but as a leader as well, because that is one attribute which very few people have. So when you can be calm and composed, when you can be balanced, I think that starts reflecting on a lot of on the entire team as well. And when you have that kind of a person, obviously it gives a lot of security to the entire squad, and I'm sure he's going to do that, and the squad will benefit a lot from the kind of person he is.
Mr. Goenka, this is going to be a very tough question. I've spent a lot of time with Gautam over, cricket discussions. I know one thing, he's not a data guy, okay? He doesn't like too much of video analysts and too much of, data being put into cricket. He goes by instincts. That's how he captain. That's how he analyzes the game. We spoke to KL. He did talk about how he likes to look at, video analyst and data. I know you have a coach in Andy Flower who's big into data. I want to know from you, what kind of a team would you like? The one that goes with instinct, because I know Gautam is going to play a role there, or the one that believes in a lot of data that maybe your captain and your coach might like?
I think data helps you to get to a point. And after that, it has to be an instinct that takes over. Data will tell you that this guy is the right batter for you. But what price to pay for him or how much to go for him is your instinct. And it is your calculation that no analyst can tell you. So I think it has to be a combination. And that's why I believe we are well positioned, because we have KL, Andy, Gautam. So it's a good combination.
All right. Very well played, sir. Gautam, thoughts?
Sorry?
Thoughts? Any thoughts?
Thoughts? See, again, I think I've always been a very instinctive guy. And whatever I do it with my instincts. And probably that's the reason. Sometimes I'm not saying that all my decisions have been the right decisions. Sometimes it has backfired. But at least when you listen to your instincts, when you feel that I think this is what is more important, that is more important. Plus, yes, again, I think we've got a very good combination. Someone who looks after data like Andy Flower, KL believes in it. But I honestly do not believe a lot into it. I believe that sometimes the records, sometimes the data can be very misleading. The matchups kind of things, we've spoken about it earlier as well, that matchups and all those things, it looks very nice. It feels very nice as well. But ultimately the result is how many runs has a batter got, or it's not important that the matchup will be a show shot strategy to win a game of cricket. So for me, I think I will still continue being as instinctive as I can be, and hopefully the combination can work really well.
Absolutely. Sometime it can, you'll have a more instinctive person like Gautam, someone with data. But talking about data, Mr. Goenka, tell us, you picked Ravi Bishnoi before the Indian team picked him. You got him in your team. Now he's an Indian team member. What went into deciding that you should have him? Instincts or data? Because if he was a stock, his stock is risen overnight and you got him early. Was that the business acumen that came into play?
It was frankly a recommendation of Gautam and backed by KL and Andy. So for me, it was a no-brainer.
Right.
Gautam, in fact, very emphatically said we should have an uncapped player so that we go in with greater purse into the auctions. And it was a recommendation that we accepted. And when we looked at that, he was the best in the uncapped category. And Ravi's capabilities are, again, not in doubt. He's done extremely well. In 2 seasons in IPL, he's performed very well. So data backed him. He's young. KL has played with him, so KL feels he's somebody KL can rely on. Gautam was very comfortable. Andy was very comfortable. So for me, the decision was pretty much made.
All right. So already we are seeing signs of instincts and data working in Ravi Bishnoi that you picked. But the other one that you've picked, Gautam, and that is Marcus Stoinis. I mean, I don't want to dwell too much into it because we already know that what a premium an all-rounder brings. And I think it's a great buy already that you can make out. But I'm going to just extend that logic to the Indian team. We're struggling for the Indian national team to get an all-rounder like Stoinis. Who's that guy? We've tried Venkatesh Iyer, we've tried Hardik Pandya. Is there a Marcus Stoinis around, someone that you can invest in?
If you don't have something, don't go for it. And you got to accept and move on. Don't try and create something which you can't create. That is where the problem lies. So if you don't have a fast bowling all-rounder, just accept and probably. And I've always been a believer that international cricket or international stage is about delivering, not grooming someone. Grooming happens at domestic cricket. Grooming happens at India A level. So India, when you go and play and represent your country, you should be absolutely ready to go out there and perform straight away. So we keep talking about we don't have an all-rounder. We've been talking about it since Kapil Dev, to be honest, and we still haven't moved on. So move on and probably try and develop people at Ranji Trophy or at India A level, and then if they're ready to do that, probably get them in international cricket, and then if you get them in international cricket, try and probably stick with them. Don't try and keep changing them very quickly. We've experienced with so many other guys, Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dubey, and now Venkatesh Iyer. So I think we haven't moved on. We need to move on.
Okay. Now looking at the way the auctions might pan out, and one thing that we know, Mr. Goenka, is that when you see a Lucknow team, you're not just representing the city, but a state on the whole. And we've always seen more and more teams try and bring the local culture. What I want to know from you is that there will be a lot of players that play for UP that will be up in the auction. The likes of Suresh Raina comes to my mind. You've gone in with one wrist spinner in Bishnoi, but there's another one in Kuldeep Yadav. There's Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. These are some very, high profile names that really come from UP. Would that be a conscious effort on your part to have players from UP so that then the team can really represent the local franchise?
We would like to have the best possible team which is capable of making a very serious bid for the title. And if it means the players, I mean, frankly, my approach wouldn't be to look at players from state A or state B or state C. It would be to look at the best possible combination. Yes, Kuldeep has been a great bowler. He's coming off an injury, but he's been a great bowler. Bhuvi has been outstanding for Hyderabad and for India. So you have great options, but it's also a question of at what price, who is willing to pay, and are other franchises willing to pay more than what you're willing to pay, and what is the balance that you're looking for in your team. So I don't believe that you will get your wish list in the auctions. If you can get some from your wish list, you've done very well, because there will be those 15, 20, 25 players who every franchise will go after. And obviously, there are 10 franchises. So, each one will get maybe a couple from their wish list. Some may be more lucky. So I think we'll have to see. It's about actually building a franchise that delivers on performance. And that would be my motto.
All right. Gautam, to you, and I'm just extending that question. You personally have had, interactions and players that have been part of your team, which just coincidentally happen to come from UP. Now, will those past experience, maybe consciously, because you also, I believe, are going to be on the auction table, maybe not consciously going after players from UP, but because you've had some sort of an association, Kuldeep comes to my mind, Ankit Rajput, if I'm not mistaken, Piyush Chawla, so these are certain players that have played under you, or you've been around them while they've been playing. Does that then go into the thing that, okay, I've had some good experiences with these guys, plus they are from that state, so why not look at them?
Look, I think staying in the present is more important. That was my past, and that was 4 years back. You can't get emotional about certain players who you've led. And that is probably the worst thing you can do going into the auction, because you've let certain individuals, and they've done really well 4 years back. We got to try and stay in the present, thinking that what kind of a form they're in, whether they actually fit our formation, whether they fit our squad, whether we are needed. These guys, uh, there's so many things that will go in your before you go onto the auction table. But all I can probably at the moment say is that I would not look back, thinking that because they played under me, that is one criteria why we would go for him. The only criteria that for me and for all of us when we go on the auction table is that what kind of a form they're in at present, and whether they actually suit our formation.
Mhm. Also, Gautam, often, it's been spoken about recently that India really needs to change its white ball template, play a different way. I want to know for the Lucknow franchise, what is the correct? Because when India were playing the T20 World Cup, you said that you were playing a kind of T20 cricket that's outdated. What would be Lucknow's approach in terms of what template would they like to follow? That England sort of approach, go all out, doesn't matter. Is that something that you'll have a serious conversation about?
See, I've always believed and I've always thought of only one template, and that template is to probably score the last run if you're chasing, and take the last wicket if you're defending. As simple as it gets. There's no other template that makes any sense to me. I think all these are media created. This finisher, opener, slog, death bowler, all that. I think for me, I think cricket is a very simple game. Try and keep it as simple as you can. I would definitely, all of us, chairman is here. Chairman would want that when we are chasing a total, we want to score the last run. And if we are defending the total, we should be able to take the last wicket and probably get the points under our kitty. That is all that matters. And that is the only template. We don't want to follow anyone. Templates are very, very overrated kind of a word, which I've always believed. I don't think so. We need to use that much.
That's what I love about Gautam Gambhir. Totally uncluttered mind. Mr. Goenka, thoughts on that? Any template, or is it just something that we have created, or do you have something in mind?
My approach is very similar to Gautam's, quite honestly. At the end of the day, what succeeds is success. Uh,
Mhm.
and frankly, if you either win or you lose. So, you may have the best theoretical template. If you keep losing, that's of no use. And on paper, you might not have the what is touted as the best template, but if you keep winning, then it's good enough.
All right. And I know you said it in the previous interview that you're not there just to make up numbers. You want to win. So I know that template is definitely on your minds. Final question before I let you gentlemen go. Gautam, I'm going to throw that question to you. And it's not really related to the IPL, but just Indian cricket in general. It's been the biggest talking point, Virat Kohli leaving captaincy. And because you've been a former captain at the IPL, you've also captained India. My question to you is, how would you want Virat Kohli to approach his cricket now that he's let go of that captaincy? What would change for him? And in terms of the management, let's say a Rahul Dravid or a new captain in Rohit Sharma, how should they approach someone like a Virat who had been captain but now will just be a player?
Nothing changes. When you're growing up as a kid, you want to try and win games for your country, and that is all that matters. You don't dream of captaining the side from day one. You want to score as many runs as possible and try and win a game of cricket. For me, I think nothing changes, and nothing will change to be because if it changes, then there is something seriously wrong. Because captaincy is just an honor, or it's just a responsibility. Your ultimate aim is to score runs, and I'm sure I think Virat would be thinking the same way.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and talking to India today. And all the best for that big auction because no matter how well you play, a lot of IPL is decided on that table because it depends the players that you really get. So all the best wishes for that big auction and taking our time and speaking to us. Gautam Gambhir and Mr. Goenka. Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you.